Hello viewer! How strange to see you like, this. I'm sorry, I didn't want to sound rude, but it's just, I come from the future, and in the future you subbed to my channel, and subsequently you became a much better person than whatever it is you are now. But enough about that, let's talk of why I came back in time. You see, among my future 9 million subscribers, there's a small but vocal minority that keeps bothering me about how I score and judge games, as if they felt like I should handcraft each video for their specific validation requirements. So I thought that if I set the record straight back in time, we could just redirect all the future garbongle to it. If you don't know what a garbongle is, don't worry, in a few years you will. Now to do this, let's focus on a word that you people should know but clearly have some issues with. Critic. What is a critic? Can everyone be a critic? How does a critic look like? Like this? Or maybe like this? A critic is someone who gives an opinion.
Thanks, Captain Obvious.
It can be about anything really. Movies, games, fucking screwdrivers. But everyone has an opinion. Some people even have opinions about shit they don't know anything about.
Woman.
Does that mean that everyone is a critic? Well, no, because if that were true, it would mean that I share a trait with Jake Paul, and I'd rather die. So what's the difference between a dude writing shit like this and this dude making a comment under a YouTube video? Is the fact that only one of them is paid? Nah, well maybe. They are both baboons with some dumbass opinions, except only one of them is proposing their view in a structured manner. Bam! Alright, now we can start. When you really think about it, becoming a critic isn't so hard after all. You just need enough free time, a space where you can put your garbage, and an ego big enough to think that anyone would give a shit about your opinion. Where things start getting different though is when you try to be an actually half-decent critic. The kind that doesn't try to make you believe that Call of Duty 18 is, good. But how can I say that this is a bad take while little Timmy here agrees with it? Well, Timmy is kind of stupid. But he's also young, he hasn't played enough games. He lacks the culture to have a more profound discussion. That's why knowledge is the first quality of a good critic. Or, as Herodotus once said, you need to know shit to talk shit about shit. Such wisdom. But knowledge is like Spider-Man.
With great power comes great responsibility.
Are you afraid that I'm gonna turn into some kind of criminal?
It's sticky and can kill you. You need to use it appropriately to avoid letting your bias corrupt it. Objectivity, such a hard thing to explain and even more to attain. You can't ask a reviewer to be 100% objective because everyone has their taste. Objectivity therefore should be the ability to realize your own shortcomings. If you try to make me play a game Splinter Cell Conviction, don't you fucking dare! I tell you that I'd rather die, and all copies of the game can be burned like the witches of Salem. But if I review it, I need to be fair and open-minded, so instead of saying that this thing is the worst thing to ever happen to video games since Atari's E.T., I can calm down and politely say, kinda shit. All of this, however, is useless if you still end up giving a pass to stuff like this. To explain my point here, I'm going to use this video by famous critic and God of War person Alana Pierce. It's a very good video, mind you, but there's one point that made me angry.
So 5 is mediocre. That does not mean average. Most of the games that these major sites are reviewing are really fucking good. If you only play AAA games, then you only see the games that are getting 8s, 9s, and 10s because they are usually extremely high quality.
What the fuck? That's bollocks! That's twisting what average means! Should we consider all movies great just because The Room exists? All games are at the very least okay because Big Rigs was released in a pre-alpha state? At some point you need to draw the line, otherwise what qualifies as mediocre and average becomes muddled. The whole idea of mediocrity is that most things fall in that category, while very bad and very good should be the outliers. Your Call of Duty, Watch Dogs, Days Gone, they're all games that are infinitely better than stuff like this, sure, but they still all qualify as the standard basic quality the AAA industry provides. That makes them the average. A good critic, in other words, needs to have high standards, otherwise I could have just stick with Timmy and tried to flirt with his mom. And this only gets worse when you realize that reading a single review on its own is useless. Like here, this dude gave Remnant 2 a 9. Wow, but I don't give a crap. How should I know if this is a critic whose taste can be of any relevance for me if I don't even know what he thinks of Mr. Mosquito? Okay, never mind, this is enough about this sodden bastard. No matter how good of a critic you can be, you're always going to have your personal taste. But being transparent is what allows you to be better than the average. It's through your transparency that I, the audience, am able to interpret your criticism. You take me, you know me. Well, not yet, but you will. I like all kinds of games. But if you put a fighting game in my hands, I'm going to get 5 aneurysms. If I give you my opinion on a fighting game, therefore you need to know this, because if you're a fan of the genre, well, first of all, you need to get checked. But you also know that my criticism might not carry much interest to you. But if you're also not a fan of fighting games, and I tell you that I played Guilty Gear Strive for 300 hours, you understand that this game is very accessible, even for a baboon like me. And this all ultimately reflects to scores. Wars were waged because of scores. This motherfucker thinks Red Dead Redemption 2 is less than a 9? Clearly must be executed. Cause Red Dead Redemption 2 is a 7. Right, got your Jimmy's Rustled, but what does it even mean to you? What is a 7? What's the difference between a 2 and a 3? Did a 3 just suck, while the 2 also personally came to my home and fucked my wife? In the end, nobody reads these reviews. Everyone just jumps to the end, and that's why a good critic should not rely on scores. Hey, wait a minute. Well, here's the thing about me. I don't put a score for you. The criticism I provide is what I'm giving you, the audience. The score is something I do for myself, because I like to catalog shit in my little mind palace. But all gamers seem to want is just seeing that score, rather than understanding the logic behind it. And maybe the truth is that before asking for good critics, we should ask ourselves what we want from a critic. Is it the opportunity to listen to a different opinion and start a discussion, or just having our feelings validated? Goddamn garbongles.